Well, hello everybody. Jason W. News Revolution Cave on this Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving, folks. If you are celebrating Thanksgiving today, happy indeed to you and yours from mine. It's Wrestling with the Past. It's Wrestling with the Past. Now, for a minute, I thought about doing something different today. I thought about reviewing a Starrcade, because Starrcade was always on Thanksgiving. Survivor Series was always on Thanksgiving. I can't do Survivor Series because I don't want to jump ahead. I could have gone back and done a Starrcade, but I didn't. But instead, you're going to get the final Madison Square Garden house show before WrestleMania. And very strange that they had back-to-back house shows 2 weeks from each other. MSG March 17th, 1985 is up next on the big show. And just 14 days from now will be WrestleMania. So kind of odd that they had two house shows within 14 days of each other. That's a financial risk, I think, getting people to come back the next month, 2 weeks later and buy tickets again. But anyway, this is taped off of TV. A lot of my stuff, maybe most of my stuff is taped off TV, but there are some from the network 24/7 when they had that, WWE 24/7. And I obviously prefer the network broadcasts. For this particular reason here, we get a nice little MSG intro with some products being advertised, and Gorilla Monsoon narrating over the intro of the show. Right off the bat, we've got Rocky Johnson reappearing in the WWF. He's taking on Charlie Fulton. I haven't seen Rocky in a while. They, of course, whenever a guy comes back to the WWF after a shorter period of time, Gorilla always mentions that they just returned from a very successful tour of some other country where they went undefeated. That is always the line. And so Rocky Johnson has just returned from a tour of the Middle East where he went undefeated. Gene? Oh, that's wonderful. Rocky Johnson undefeated. So it's always the Middle East. It's the Orient, right? Rocky Johnson just returned from a tour of the Orient where he went undefeated. What do we got here? Yeah, shorter back and forth match with simple. Rocky Johnson winning with a sunset flip. Rocky Johnson's much more bulkier, he appears to be. I don't like Rocky Johnson. I don't know. He never did it for me. Yeah, I don't know. There was some talk of him being Intercontinental Champion in the Don Morocco days. Maybe, maybe. But I don't know. He just doesn't do it for me, and I don't know how much longer he actually sticks around the WWF. What this takes me way back. I wrote Voices of Graphic. I don't know. I must have put something up there that I don't understand what I wrote. Okay, Barry O and Renee Goulet are next. Is this Barry O's debut, I believe? Of course, this is Barry Orton, the brother of Cowboy Bob Orton, the uncle of Randy Orton, and one of the wrestlers who is probably one of a small handful who are actually boycotted or blacklisted by the WWF, as he came out during the abuse scandal of the early 90s. Barry O was one of the people who made a lot of accusations against a lot of people, including Pat Patterson, and very, very sad stuff and very frustrating stuff. We won't get into that, but Barry O, he's got so Barry O has tights on with the kind of the Rock and Roll Express handkerchief deal around his boots, maybe around his knee. So I don't know if Barry O was going to be, a kind of a rock and roll guy. I don't know if he just brought his gear from wherever he was wrestling before. I don't know if they were going to do something with him. Barry O is a face in this match, and I think it's the only time that he's. So maybe they're trying something with Barry O. I don't know. Later, in the next couple of months or into '86, when he's a legit bad guy, when they announce Barry O, he puts his hands up like that and does the O. Apparently, this is an O. I mean, you could have went like this. That would have kind of morphed into the Taylor Swift heart thing that I wish would just go away. But Barry O would do that when it was O time. Anyway. Gorilla Monsoon calls Rene Goulet the Michael Jackson of the WWF. And that is just so dumb for so many reasons. And he's only calling him the Michael Jackson because he wears a glove on his hand. It's his claw hand, right? So if you wear a glove, obviously you can get a better claw hold on a guy. Or the glove is loaded, which, how would that make the claw hurt? I don't know. Rene Goulet, the Michael Jackson of the WWF. Lots of side headlocks and snap mares in this one. We get a little more action, maybe 7 minutes in or so, and that tells you right there what we have to sit through. 7 minutes in to a job versus job match. We've got action finally. Now, look, please don't misunderstand me. I would watch Barry O against Rene Goulet over anything that is on television today, with the exception of AEW, kind of. I mean, we haven't seen that. But I would take this tenfold over anything that's out there today. Goulet honestly looks like he's 60. And that's another thing that I notice when I'm watching these matches. The guys stuck around a lot longer, or they just aged quicker. And we've already talked about that, how people who were 50 in 1985 looked like grandparents. And I will be 50 in 2 years. And I don't yet look like a grandparent. So maybe Rene Goulet is like 29. I don't know. But he looks 60. Not a bad match. Goulet goes for a slam. The old standby body slam. And then Barry O hangs on, gets the small package win. And you can always tell, I noticed that in these matches, you can always tell when it's over. Gorilla Monsoon kind of gives it away. He's really excited when it's going to be a pinfall. His voice goes up, how fast he talks goes up, and you just know it's not going to be a near finish. You just know because Gorilla Monsoon is pumped. A little too soon for the ending of these matches. The other thing that gives it away is the referee's fast count. I don't know what's going on here, but if you watch these old-timey house shows, the referee, it's almost like he's got to go to the bathroom. He's got to poo because, he'll make the regular 2 count throughout the match. But in the final pinfall, it's 1, 2, 3, and he's out of there. And Gorilla Monsoon's freaking. So you know it's ending. I don't know. SD Jones versus Jim Neidhart is up next. And before the match even started, I wrote down, I'm kind of pumped for this one. I'm kind of looking forward to SD Jones and Jim Neidhart. Should be good. SD is going to be on the Mania card in 2 weeks. So a nice little double payday for him. SD Jones with some early offense frustrates Jim Neidhart. That, of course, makes the bad guy revert to dirty tactics to get the upper hand. A little more back and forth until Jim catches him in the power slam for the win. Now, I hated this win. I hated the way this match was won because Jim Neidhart hits SD with a very powerful power slam that in wrestling world is supposed to kind of knock you out, right? You're out, you get in the 3 count. However, Jim Neidhart gives him a solid power slam, but also hooks the tights. So the hooking of the tights is causing SD Jones to point to the referee, hey, he's got my tights. And then kicks out at, 3.1, which they always do, and then gets up immediately, no-sells the power slam, and he's mad at the referee because Neidhart had the trunks, the tights, whatever. Now, I don't like that. So what wrestling is saying to me is, if somebody as powerful as Jim Neidhart gives you the power slam and doesn't hook the tights, you're knocked out. But if he does have a handful of tights, you didn't feel anything and you're angry that he's cheating to win. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like that. Bundy. King Kong Bundy is next. Also going to be appearing in 2 weeks. Bundy's still rocking the cape. Still rocking the cape. And I watched a shoot interview with Bundy, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it because Bundy came off very... he was okay at times, but arrogant. He was like kind of... You know the Sean something or other, that the shoot interviewer for... I don't know, whatever, the high spots. I don't know, whatever he does, whatever. Sean something or other. He's a great interviewer. He's friends with all the guys. He's a great interviewer. But King Kong Bundy's trying to rough him up a little bit. Like, what'd you say? Grabbing his tie. I'm like, get out of here, Bundy. You're ridiculous. But anyway, Bundy said that Vince didn't like the cape and the sunglasses because he wanted Bundy's entire body to show when he was walking into the ring, and the cape hid him a little bit. And so Vince nixed the cape and sunglasses very soon. This might be the last appearance of the cape and sunglasses. But that's an interesting little tidbit. This time it's against Jose Luis Rivera. Longer. This match is certainly longer than the WrestleMania match. Fairly dominant, but Jose gets in 2 drop kicks that do nothing. So it's kind of it's an interesting visual. Jose Luis Rivera throwing 2 drop kicks, and Bundy's kind of doing the Jason Voorhees, taking a bullet, that kind of thing. So Bundy no-sells the drop kicks, which is great. I mean, that's exactly what you're supposed to do with somebody like Bundy. Bundy gets the splash and the elbow drop, the avalanche and the elbow drop, and I like that. I like that for Bundy. The splash was always a little, it looked a little not believable. But then when you follow up the splash with this massive elbow, I'm convinced that you're out. I'm convinced. And of course, Bundy goes for the 5 count. We've got a live Piper's Pit. Now, in future live Piper's Pits, they put a rug in the ring. They put either a plaid rug or just a red rug. Right now they had nothing. They got nothing. A couple of chairs. So the live Piper's Pit, of course, Piper comes out and he runs down New York, as he's supposed to do. Talks about their sports teams and how disgusting the city is. And he's a great bad guy. He's one of the best bad guys of all time, if not the. Now he's about to introduce. And the crowd's going wild. He's going to introduce, finally, I'm going to bring him out. Finally, I'm going to bring him out. Paul Orndorff, come on out here. Crowd goes angrily insane. Paul Orndorff comes down. And we get, after, then of course, Orndorff and Piper are in the ring. And they're making some hardcore race jokes against Mr. T. And again, I know it's a different time, 1985. Very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. They're really going after it. Orndorff more, which to me kind of makes a little sense. Orndorff's going after him a little bit more. Piper's kind of like, you're right, Orndorff. Paul's really laying it in. So Mr. T comes out now finally, and accompanying Mr. T is Hogan and Snuka. There we go. Orton is somehow in. I think Orton just accompanies Piper. So we got Orndorff, Orton, and Piper in the ring. Mr. T comes out. He's not alone. Hogan and Snuka are there. And then we just have this visual of all 6 guys just standing in the ring. And I'm very excited for WrestleMania. I really am. And it makes me wonder, what if the WrestleMania main event was a 6-man? Would that have been better? I don't know. It could have, Orton wasn't on the card. Snuka wasn't on the card. That might have worked. I'm sure it was talked about at some point, but I would have liked to have seen that. A little, back and forth, pretty good back and forth between Piper and T. T holds his own on the mic. I mean, he's an actor. He's doing fine. In fact, he kind of runs this segment at the end. I'll get to that. But Roddy Piper is giving Mr. T chance to back out. This was the whole point of the pit, to back out. Now, Hogan and Snuka are doing nothing. For the first time in Hogan's career, he's doing nothing. He's just standing there letting T handle the whole thing. Of course, Mr. T refuses to back out, but he says, Piper, you and your goons can back out if you'd like. And then we get, I don't know what the heck's going on here, but out of nowhere, Roddy Piper brings out 3 really full-size paintings of what Mr. T could look like after the match. And I got a little I got a little nervous because I wasn't sure. I was thinking like, all right, are these going to be like racial paintings? Because they're not shy about, making fun of Mr. T. Are the paintings going to be? And they weren't. It was just, paintings of Mr. T with a broken arm, paintings of Mr. T with a broken leg in like a hospital, and I think one in a wheelchair. So I don't know I don't know why this had to happen. I don't know who. Tony Atlas was quite an artist. I'm wondering if Tony Atlas made these paintings, because they're actual paintings of Mr. T, and it looks okay. It looks like Mr. T. I don't know why that happened. I don't know why. Then Piper goes, okay, we got one. He goes, he puts on a Mr. T mohawk wig. And of course that infuriates T. He grabs it off. We get a little skirmish, nothing, no blows. Nobody came to blows. Bad guys are like, forget you guys. They're out of there. The ring again is surrounded by cops. And part of that was probably for Mr. T, being the actor guy. But the ring is surrounded by cops because, I worry about about Piper and Orndorff and Orton walking back to the ring or walking back to the dressing room, because that'll be rough. Now, I did watch another interview because I'd always heard rumors that Mr. T wasn't well received, and that Piper didn't like him, and David Schultz didn't like him, but David Schultz is an idiot. I saw an actual interview with Orndorff and Orton, a shoot with those two, and they said Mr. T was fine. They said he was great and easy to work with and no problems. They did add the wrestler tough guy thing, like, well, he had to be, or else, we would have handed it to him in the ring, Orton. And Paul Orndorff, saying his junk. Yeah, we could have killed him in there. Okay, fellas, settle down. I get it, but I don't know. No problem. And I doubt it. I doubt there was any problems with, Roddy Piper has to say there were problems with Mr. T. He has to. Anyway, it's hyping me up for the main event. I can't wait. I can't wait for WrestleMania. I've seen it 400 times. I can't wait for WrestleMania because of this hype. We got a weird match. We got Bret Hart teaming up with George Wells against Sheik and Volkov. I kind of feel like this is a super weak card so far. And there is another house show coming on. I have 2 to do. There was 2 house shows on March 17th, 1985, one from Philly. And I have no idea who's going to be on the Philly card, because on this card, we've got Hogan, we got Snuka, we got Piper, we got all those guys. Maybe Stud and Andre on the Philly show. I don't know. Let's see. New York fans are booing the anthem, but not pelting the ring like the Philly fans. Yeah, the Philly fans pelt the ring with everything. So they're booing the anthem. It's kind of weird. So Bret Hart is starting to look like Bret Hart. Okay, his hair is getting a little longer. He's wearing the Bret Hart outfit. It's not pink. It's not pink and black, but it's the same style. And the hair getting longer is really starting to make him look like Bret Hart. So it's weird to see Bret Hart and the Iron Sheik in the ring, because it's the Bret Hart that we know. He's almost there. And so it's a great, it's a great match when Bret Hart is in there. It's a great match when Bret Hart and the Iron Sheik are in there. George Wells and Nikolai Volkov bring this match down a little bit. It kind of felt like the Hart Foundation when I'm watching, Bret Hart in the ring with a tag team. I'm just automatically waiting for Jim Neidhart to come in. Sheik and Volkov win after Wells went for a backdrop. Of course, Wells took the pin here. George Wells went for a backdrop, and Sheik kicks him with the loaded boot. And let me tell you, George Wells sells the heck out of this kick. I got a little picture here. He bends down for the backdrop, takes the kick, and then like almost backflips. Just out. Great. Great sell for the loaded boot. I love it. Sheik drops an elbow for good measure, and we get the pin. We get no camel clutch. Continuing on with the week card, we've got Maniac Matt Bourne debuting. Maniac Matt Bourne from Portland, who goes on to become Doink the Clown at one point. Big Josh in the WCW. And, a disgruntled old wrestler who passed away from his demons. But he looks fine. He looks good at this point. He's got blonde hair for some reason and a brown beard. But it looks like he's in great shape. And he's taking on David Sammartino. Matt Bourne dominates early. Now, Matt Bourne is not a job guy. Matt Bourne is an established wrestler at this point, just from other smaller territories. And he looks great. He looks great in there with David. He's got some. There seemed to be a little bit of early aggression between the two, like they weren't working too well together. A little bit of rough stuff. Then they settled in. Sammartino held on to a Bourne body slam and again got the roll up pin. So that's the second match that has the body slam rolled into a small package win. I thought this match was fine. I've seen a few David Sammartino matches in a row that I'm not hating and quite opposite. I'm enjoying. Holy cow, take a look at what we have next, I wrote down. Andre, JYD, and Snuka taking on Stud, Patera, and Jesse Ventura, of all people. Jesse Ventura. And man, oh man, is the crowd loving this. I mean, the star power in this match. Andre attacks Stud right off the bat, and all the bad guys bail out. Already so fun. Already. We got some weird but good combinations in there, like Patera and Snuka go at it. Dog and John Studd go at it. Jesse and Andre are in there together. I love that. I love this six-man match. The whole match is Andre trying to get at Studd. Heenan's just brilliant. He's doing his thing. When Andre finally gets in there with Studd, I'm actually scared for Studd, because Andre is extremely angry, aggressive Andre. And it's just intimidating. The finish has Andre in with Jesse, which is great. Big boots Jesse and tags Snuka, who climbs up for the leap. What a match. So the ending is Andre whips Jesse into the ring or into the ropes while Snuka's already climbing the ropes. He's already been tagged. Andre hits the big boot. Jesse flops down. Snuka gets him with the splash. Such a match. So fun. Crowd is all over it. All right, we've got Ricky Steamboat making his Madison Square Garden debut. He's taking on Terry Gibbs, who as I watch more and more of him, he's just so great in this role. Gibbs is the aggressor most of the match, cheating here and there to really upset Steamboat, to really rile up Steamboat. And Steamboat's getting angry, and Gibbs is just cheating throughout the match. Then the cat and mouse begins. Ricky Steamboat's angry. He's chasing Gibbs. Gibbs hops out of the ring. Ricky Steamboat still can't get to him. He's pumped up. Finally, he goes outside the ring, chases him around. Gibbs rolls in. That kind of deal. I love that. This is certainly longer than the debut of Ricky Steamboat on television. And honestly, I could watch Ricky Steamboat all day. I could watch him wrestle a main event. I could watch him wrestle Terry Gibbs. Ricky Steamboat might be the best wrestler ever. He might be the best in-ring wrestler ever. Right? Who's better? Who's better than Ricky Steamboat in the ring? You know, I don't know. Let's talk about it. Everything Steamboat does look perfect. Everything he does looks perfect. The chops look perfect. The punches look perfect. The leapfrogs, the arm drags, obviously. The crossbody off the top rope looks perfect. Everything looks perfect from Ricky Steamboat, always. And I'm so glad that he got a chance to win a world title. When he went to the NWA and beat Flair, when it was still the NWA. It was in the last days of the NWA. It was dying before it went to WCW, but Steamboat got a legit world title. And I'm thrilled about that because he can't do anything in the WWF other than Intercontinental, which wasn't nearly as long as it should have been. He's not going to get a world title match against Hogan. It's ridiculous. So I'm so glad that he went to the NWA and did what he did there. Tito, here's our main event, folks. Tito Santana, and check this out. Check out this main event. Tito Santana, Greg Valentine, lumberjack match. All right, here we go. Now, again, I can't imagine who's on the Philly card. Unless it was a day show and MSG was a night show and they made both. I don't know. I can't imagine who's left for the Philly card. I really can't. Wyndham and Rotundo, bunch of job match. I don't know. We'll see. I have a love-hate relationship with lumberjack matches. They're exciting to watch on TV not as an adult, but looking back now and watching it as an adult, they're exciting to watch. Hated them when I was a kid. You know why? I went to Rochester War Memorial. One of the matches was a lumberjack match. All right, it was last. I was so mad as a kid because all the lumberjacks were still the same guys that were already on the card. I thought that in my goofy little 9-year-old brain, a whole new roster of wrestlers was going to come out to surround the ring. But it was still just Iron Mike Sharp and Leapin' Lanny Poffo and Rocky Johnson. And I was like, we just saw, are you kidding me? Where's Andre and Hogan? Where's Hogan? Hogan's not a lumberjack? Yeah. So, same thing with the Battle Royals. I would get mad as a kid when they'd have a Battle Royal in the middle of like a house show and it was just all the guys that we just saw. Like Charlie Fulton and Salvatore Bellomo. I was so mad. Anyway, this match just feels so important, and the crowd knows it. The crowd knows how important this is. You start seeing the guys walk down the MSG aisle. You know, the bad guy lumberjacks kind of stand together. The good guy lumberjacks are on the other side of the ring. It's just so 80s WWF. I love it. Valentine's out first. Tito Santana is out next, and they show him walking through the back MSG, backstage or whatever, the locker room. I love that look. I love when they put a camera back there and show the guys walking through the curtain. Love it. It's so great. What a match. I mean, what a match. It's Tito and Greg. I mean, it's so good right from the start. It's just so good. Honestly, it's a perfect match. The crowd is so into it. And another funny thing about lumberjack matches is that in a lumberjack match, the guys are going to go outside of the ring way more often than they would in a normal match. So it's like, I love the silly predictability of wrestling. Greg Valentine gets knocked down from a drop kick. He's rolling out of the ring. He knows exactly what's going to happen to him. But the bad guys always roll out. When they roll out to the bad guy section, the bad guys are like, oh, hold on a second. They're trying to help him up. Come on. And then like a good guy runs over and forces his way in there and throws him in. And then you get a little skirmish between the guys outside. Love that. When a good guy gets thrown out into the good guys, they take they're not cheating. They're helping him back in the ring, but they're not, they're cheering for him. Come on, get back in there. Lumberjack matches. Let's see. It's such a back and forth with these two. They both sell for each other so well. Their facial expressions are so great. It's honestly a 5-star match. Well, you know what I mean. It's just such a fantastic match. Let's see. Tito has Greg and the figure 4. and the crowd is going nuts, but the referee is distracted by Jimmy Hart, and then Big John Studd pulls Greg Valentine to the ropes. That causes Tito Santana to release the figure four and start pounding on Big John Studd, which is cool, right? So he's kind of hanging over the ropes, pounding on him. That allows Greg. Now this is where we just lose it. This is where we lose it. Greg Valentine gets up. Tito's with Studd. Valentine hits him hard. Tito's selling. And they go back and forth a little bit. They go back and forth with the slugfest, right? I love the hockey punch slug. It's not the official hockey punch, but it's the one blow for you, one blow for me, then a block, then a blow, right? Well, okay, they're trading punches, right? They're trading punches. They're kind of near the ropes. Tito misses. Greg gets him in a side headlock. Tito pushes Greg off into the ropes. They collide, but it's a shoulder block, right? Greg shoulder blocks Tito. Tito collapses. Greg collapses on top of him. 1, 2, 3. Huh? 1, 2, 3. I watched it back like 4 times. Now, because I stuck around to the end of the match, both guys needed help getting out of the ring. Both guys were groggy. Greg Valentine doesn't even know he won. What the heck's going on? Tito doesn't know. So basically, what was supposed to happen was after the push-off, they were supposed to collide heads. They were supposed to knock heads. Tito's knocked out. Greg is knocked out, falls on top of Tito, doesn't even know where he is, gets the 3 count. But they just didn't come anywhere near each other's head. It really looked like a shoulder block. And Tito sold a shoulder block like he got knocked out. And Greg sold a shoulder block like he knocked himself out. Didn't like the finish. Crowd didn't seem to like it either. They're like, what the heck? Because they didn't see the heads collide. They watched Tito lose to a shoulder block after an incredible match. I didn't like that part. That's it. And then we go to commercial. We come back. And also something that I liked as a kid but didn't like was, even though you kind of knew it was like 11 o'clock, the show was over, when they come back from a break, I'm still hoping that there's one more match. But do you know what the giveaway is? The crowd is filing out. They come back, Gorilla's talking, and the crowd is leaving MSG. And you're like, it's over. And that's what you get when you get these taped off TV. You get the whole run. It's great. You're not going to see that from the WWE Network version. But there we go. Madison Square Garden, 3/17/85. There's a Philly show, same night, and I looked them up. It's not just the dates on my disc. They really happened. I'll watch that this week. I have no idea who's going to be on that card. Sheik and Volkov were in, again, unless they do a double show, a double spot or whatever, and they make both shows. I don't know. There's no chance, Wyndham and Rotundo. But who's the tag team that they're going to defend against? Sheik and Volkov were in New York. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, folks. Happy Thanksgiving. Wrestling with the Past. In the books. Good night now.